SecurityX CAS-005 is not testing whether you can collect the biggest pile of cybersecurity acronyms. It is testing whether you can think through enterprise security decisions at a senior level. That means architecture, engineering, operations, risk, compliance, cloud, identity, automation, cryptography, and incident response do not live in separate boxes, they connect. And that is the point of the exam. So in this video, let's break down what SecurityX CAS-005 is, what kind of thinking it tests, and how to study the domains without turning them into a giant flashcard wall. If you approach CAS-005 like a trivia exam, you can waste a lot of time. You might memorize the definition of SASE, CASB, SIM, SOAR, STRIDE, CVSS SCAP, STIX, TAXI, YARA, and Zero Trust. Those terms matter. But SecurityX wants more than term recognition. It wants judgment. The official CompTIA SecurityX page positions the certification for security architects and senior security engineers. It describes skills around designing, implementing, and integrating secure solutions across complex environments, using automation, monitoring, detection, and incident response, and applying governance, compliance, risk management, and threat modeling across the enterprise. That is the frame. A senior security person is not only asking, what does this tool do? They are asking, where does this control fit? What risk does it reduce? What trade-off does it create? How do we validate that it works? Who owns the decision if the risk remains? Here are the current official exam facts to understand before you study. SecurityX uses exam code CAS-005. It launched on December 17, 2024. The exam can include up to 90 multiple choice and performance-based questions. The time limit is up to 165 minutes. This time limit is up to 165 minutes. The score is reported as pass or fail, not as a scaled numeric score. CompTIA recommends advanced hands-on experience, around 10 years of general IT experience, including 5 years of hands-on security experience, plus Network Plus, Security Plus, CISA Plus, Cloud Plus, Pen Test Plus, or equivalent knowledge. Do not hear that as you must have exactly this resume. Hear it as a signal about the level of the questions. The exam assumes you can reason across real enterprise environments, not just identify a single textbook control. SecurityX CAS-005 is organized around 4 major domains. First, governance, risk, and compliance. This is about policy, standards, procedures, risk management, threat modeling, compliance strategy, frameworks, control mapping, data governance, and accountability. Second, security architecture. This is about designing secure environments, cloud and hybrid architecture, shared responsibility, CASB, shadow IT, CI/CD pipelines, containers, serverless workloads, segmentation, data perimeters, SASE, SD-WAN, and Zero Trust. Third, security engineering. This is about implementing and validating security technologies, automation, scripting, workflow triggers, infrastructure as code, SOAR, vulnerability management, SCAP concepts, cryptography, code signing, tokenization, and key lifecycle decisions. Fourth, security operations. This is about monitoring and improving security in motion. SIM, parsing, retention, correlation, false positives, baselines, threat intelligence, STIX, TAXI, Sigma, YARA, SNORT, incident response, root cause analysis, and lessons learned. The mistake is studying those domains as 4 disconnected folders. SecurityX expects you to connect them. Architecture creates the design, engineering implements the controls, operations measures what is happening, governance and risk explain why the decision matters and who is accountable. Here is a realistic scenario. Your company is moving a customer-facing application into a cloud environment. The app handles sensitive customer data. Engineering wants to move quickly. Compliance wants audit evidence. Operations wants logs that are actually useful. The security team is worried about identity, secrets, network exposure, encryption keys, CI/CD pipeline risk, and incident response. A junior answer might say, use encryption, enable MFA, scan containers, and send logs to the SIM. Those are not wrong, but they are incomplete. A SecurityX level answer asks how the whole system works. Which parts of the workload are the cloud provider's responsibility, and which parts remain the customer's responsibility? Where are identities created, approved, monitored, and revoked? Who owns encryption keys? How are secrets kept out of source code and deployment logs? What does the CI/CD pipeline allow into production? Which controls are preventive, which are detective, and which are corrective? Which events need to be retained, parsed, correlated, and escalated? Which risk is still residual after the control design? Who accepts that risk if the business wants to launch anyway? That is SecurityX thinking. It is not cloud security equals encryption. It is an enterprise decision model. Use this 4-domain study framework for CS-005. For every topic, ask 4 questions. 1. What is the governance or risk decision? This tells you why the control matters, what policy or standard applies, and who owns the outcome. 2. What is the architecture decision? This tells you where the control sits: identity plane, network boundary, data layer, application layer, cloud control plane, endpoint or detection pipeline, endpoint or detection pipeline. 3. What is the engineering decision? This tells you how the control is implemented, automated, tested, integrated, and maintained. 4. What is the operations decision? This tells you what telemetry proves it works, what alerts matter, what false positives look like, and how incidents improve the system. If you can answer those 4 questions for each objective, you are no longer just memorizing the exam outline. You're practicing the kind of reasoning the exam is trying to measure. Original knowledge check, not from the real exam. A company is deploying a new cloud-based customer portal. The team has container images, a CI/CD pipeline, a cloud database, external APIs, and a requirement to prove compliance controls are operating. Which study approach best matches SecurityX CAS-005 thinking? A. Memorize the definitions of containers, APIs, encryption, SIM, and compliance. B. Focus only on the cloud architecture domain because the system is hosted in cloud. C. Map the workload across governance, architecture, engineering, and operations. Identify risk ownership, data flows, trust boundaries, control implementation, automation, telemetry, and evidence. D. Wait until after deployment to review logs and fix anything that appears in the SIM. The best answer is C. A is useful but too shallow. Definitions are the starting point, not the finish line. B is too narrow. The system is in the cloud, but the decision also involves governance, engineering, and operations. D is reactive. SecurityX expects proactive design, implementation, monitoring, and improvement. C is the senior level answer. It connects the business decision, architecture, engineering controls, operational proof, and compliance evidence. That is exactly how CAS-005 topics come together. The common mistake is asking, which domain is this topic in, and stopping there. A topic may be listed under one domain, but real security decisions cross boundaries. Zero Trust involves architecture, identity engineering, operations telemetry, governance, and risk exceptions. Vulnerability management involves engineering tools, operational prioritization, business risk, asset value, and remediation governance. Cloud data security involves architecture, cryptography, IAM, logging, incident response, and compliance. So yes, know the domains, but study the connections. Here is the simple summary. SecurityX CAS-005 is an advanced exam for security architects and senior security engineers. It tests 4 connected areas: governance, risk, and compliance, security architecture, security engineering, and security operations. The exam is not only asking whether you know advanced terms, it is asking whether you can make and defend senior-level security decisions in complex environments. So as you study, do not only ask, what does this term mean? Ask, where does it fit? What risk does it reduce? What trade-off does it create? How do we validate it? And who owns the remaining risk? That is the SecurityX CA-005 mindset. In the next video, we will cover how to study SecurityX without memorizing random acronyms. If you are following the SecurityX path, subscribe to Cert Path Lab and keep building the senior cybersecurity mindset one decision at a time.